There's gotta be something there for sure.
Yeah.
Oh! Oh!
Welcome to the Funhouse. We are talking about the Funhouse Massacre, a 2015 movie directed by Andy Palmer and stars Robert Englund, Jerry Burns and Scotty Thompson. Now, I have to say, on the subject of Robert Englund, he's not in this how much. He is the prison warden, or the mental asylum warden, at the beginning of the movie. He's in about 10 minutes, and that's a lot. Anyway, the story here basically focuses on a group of escaped mental patients, all of whom are serial killers with a particular style of killing, and they basically are led by this guy who takes them to this kind of fun house at Halloween where they're having all these kind of themed horror attractions. A lot of them are based on real crimes, and these are crimes that were committed by these very psychopaths. So of course they basically set up shop there, and unsuspecting customers will come in thinking they're seeing a kind of like some kind of stage show, but these kills are real. And it focuses on both the killers and this kind of group of kids that basically go to this park, and you know, all hell breaks loose. You've also got this kind of couple of cops that kind of are thrown into the mix as well. So this is a film that I'd say is definitely made for horror fans and not for mainstream audiences. So if you're just a casual movie fan, then this is probably not going to be the movie for you, but it definitely caters to a horror fan. It's a very, very gory film, but it is very tongue-in-cheek. This is not kind of a serious film. There are actually quite a lot of pop culture references here that I actually quite liked, especially Machete, some real kind of like obscure ones. And I really liked the Machete pop references that you'll see in here. I won't say what that is. So what is good and what is bad about this film? On the negative side, first of all, it is somewhat derivative. Unfortunately, it does kind of fall into somewhat cliches, and you know, and I think at some points this movie is actually poking fun at the kind of horror film genre and some of the cliches that we have in that, but at the same time it ends up being kind of cliche anyway. The other things I would say is the characterization on a lot of the people here is a little bit a miss. The actual, on the psychopath side, we only really ever get to know the characters of the kind of the leader guy, and his kind of like daughter, this kind of like Harley Quinn looking girl. The rest of them are just kind of foot soldiers, and we don't really know anything about them, to be honest with you, and they're never really developed as characters. And the actual, on the kind of the good guy side, this kind of group of kids, same sort of thing. They're just really very much generic kind of stereotypes, horror stereotypes that you'll kind of see. You know, the kind of the slutty girl, the kind of the Virginia girl, the kind of the nerdy girl, all that kind of stuff. They're all there basically, and again, they don't really ever come out and kind of do anything original with them, I would say. So they kind of, the actual hero side of it are actually quite bland, to be honest with you. And then the other criticism I have on the police, the two police people that kind of turn up, there is one of them that is a comedy relief, and they go way too far with his kind of bumblingness, if that makes sense. It kind of makes it into just a bit too far with it, a bit too spoofy. On the plus side here, there's lots of gore here, lots of gore. It's not one of these films where you're going to be flinching and things. It's going to be like, oh my god, that's so disturbing. It's very much in your kind of like your brain dead, your Peter Jackson style movies, where it's just like OTT, lots of kind of fun effects, lots of blood splurting everywhere. So it's not going to be one of these films that I feel is going to gross you out, but you'll kind of like gleefully enjoy it as kind of people get, you know, the heads cracked open with massive mallets and stuff like that. And the other pluses, I would say, actually, even though I feel some of the bad guys were undeveloped, it's nice to see a variety of these kind of different psychopaths. You know, so you have a real kind of mix of people there. I think they could have done more with the kind of the circus act type stuff, but nevertheless. And then, like I said, it actually does have some good pop culture references as well. I kind of quite like that. There are certain things that, even though it does fall somewhat derivative sometimes, it does occasionally kind of subvert your expectations, just in a couple of scenes here and there. For example, the first fight that we have are sort of hero characters versus one of these psychopaths, rather than it's a scale basically, rather than kind of just running away like you see in the lottery films, she actually puts up quite a good fight, and straight away as well. She literally just launches straight at this kind of the psychopath. And I quite like the fact that actually happened. It was quite good. And one of the kind of people who you may think is going to be a typical survivor doesn't kind of end up as such, and I kind of quite like that. So overall, I would say if you are a horror movie fan, you're going to probably like this film. It doesn't really, I don't think, stretch the genre any way. It is kind of low budget at times as well. Some of the humour was hit and miss. I like some of the pop culture references, but some of the kind of the bumbling, slapsticky humour I felt was a little bit too juvenile at times. But overall, I want to give this movie a 6 out of 10. It's worth your time if you're a horror movie fan, if you're a gore hound, stuff like that. It's not, it's not realistic gore, but it's kind of fun, silly, good times basically if you're a horror movie fan. 6 out of 10 for me. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.